What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Man to Man AU podcast out here in the Plains. I'm Nick.
And I'm Jackson.
And once again, it was a great week of college football. Kind of sour because of what happened. And before we dive into it, I just want to give a little shout out to Bruce Pearl. Obviously, he retired. This isn't a football podcast, or this isn't a basketball podcast, but he deserves to mention.
Yeah.
Greatest basketball coach in all of history. We love you, Bruce. But let's go ahead and get into the Auburn game. Well, not even the Auburn game. I'm going to talk about officiating first.
First of all, it's not even like we can make it like obviously major point about last week's Auburn game.
Yeah.
But overall, in general, for the past couple years, I feel like.
Yeah, but I feel like so. There's 99% of the time fans complain about reffing. It's not. It doesn't really impact the game because you could have done plenty of other things. But there's a 1%, and it's happened to Auburn before, and it happened on Saturday. There was two very not controversial calls. I'm not even going to talk about the PIs because that happens in every game. There's bad PI calls in every game, no PI calls. There was two extremely controversial calls. And one of them, the SEC didn't even bring up. I think the first one is more controversial than the second one.
Whenever a statement comes out about SEC officials making a bad call, and you're here trying to figure out what call it is they're talking about, because there's so many.
Exactly.
I mean, whether you're talking about the fumble, the missed PI, the illegal touchdown, like pick and choose one. Because I was waiting, and we only saw one statement come out, and I get it. I understand how annoying it is for immediately after you get a big win like Oklahoma got to go ahead and jump to the refs, or for Auburn fans to go ahead and jump to the refs. I understand it's annoying to hear that. Y'all got the win. It's fine. But I think we earned a right to complain. And we had that last drive where we could have made something happen and we didn't, and their D-line destroyed us. I get that, okay? Y'all won the game. Y'all have the one next to y'all's record book. But we earned a right to complain about what went down.
But yeah, multiple things can be true at one time.
Yeah.
We got hosed. And Oklahoma deserved to win. Okay, and you right, like you said, our O-line played bad. But multiple things can be true at one time. It's just I don't know. I have a lot of freaking gripe with the fumble call because how is that not a fumble?
And I even
how
understand
is that not?
if that was a point. If y'all want to claim, all right, he didn't get the ball, fine, whatever, controversial call, I get it. They claimed he didn't make the catch when he took 3 steps and made a football move. What are we defining as a catch at that point? Because at that point, if anyone catches a slant and gets knocked, and then the ball comes out, oh, he didn't catch it, sorry. What's the stipulation that determines a catch at this point? If we're saying he can take a few steps and try and move away from the tackler, and we're saying he doesn't have possession yet.
And there's been games where I get really mad at the refs, and it's just like it's just a moment where I get super mad, and you step back and you're like, well, you know what? Didn't really affect the game. And everybody on social media is like, well, it doesn't matter. Y'all got screwed, but it doesn't really matter. You're not going to play that good. But I just felt like this time it's been different. I think you could see everybody's coming out of the woodwork to be like, yeah, Auburn got hosed.
It was, I mean, we're talking about 14 points on that got left on the line because of officials. That fumble got taken back for a touchdown, called back. That illegal play that they called, which I understand, they probably would have scored points on the drive either way. But to score like that, and then for the announcers to immediately be like, I don't know what they're doing. That shouldn't have happened, and then let's keep going with the game. You know, it left a lot to be desired, and yeah.
You have people even like Brandon Walker, which is Auburn hater. He'll say it. He even said it in the same video. He said, "I hate Auburn and I hate Hugh Freeze." But that was so unfair that I almost felt bad for him. And it's like,
don't make me like Brandon Walker.
I still hate him. But anyways, we'll get into the actual game now. Defense played really good, I would say. Offense, I would say they didn't play that bad until the last drive. The last drive was awful. I'm not going to blame it all on the O-line, and I'm not going to blame it all on Jackson Arnold. I think it's about 50-50. That's
Yeah.
what Hugh Freeze said, at least. He
And-
said it's 5 sacks were his fault, 5 sacks were the O-line's fault. And that's how it should be.
Like
But-
one of the things that we were faulting him during the Baylor game was he wasn't sitting through his reads. He would, as soon as that first read wasn't going, he was ducking and running. And I think maybe
Yeah, he didn't do
Hugh
that.
got into his ear over the past couple weeks where it's like, hey, sit there, make your reads. We've got the wide receivers, and he sat there. And maybe he was afraid to make a bad decision in Norman because he would have never heard the end of it.
Yeah.
And he didn't throw a pick, but at some point you've got to trust your receivers, and if a 50-50 ball is there, take it, because that's what we were winning,
And I agree. I would rather you get sacked 90% of the time than throw a pick. But on the last drive, on 3rd and 4th down, you cannot get sacked. You cannot get sacked. So I was very
Especially when
frustrated
you're
with
pushed
Jackson.
against the end zone, when you've got 4 yards to spare
Yeah.
and a game in your hands.
Just
Make a decision.
Just throw it up. I don't care if it's a pick. He hasn't thrown a pick all year. He's just been every time someone's not open, he takes a sack or runs it.
Which, I mean, complete polar opposite from last year, where people aren't even thinking about the decisions they're making, but they're going to get that ball over there, and now we're worried about even getting the ball in the air before he gets sacked.
So I do think we have the better alternative there, because if Peyton Thorne was a quarterback on Saturday, we would have got killed, I think.
Yes.
Jackson
yeah,
Arnold
I
had
think
a
that's
good-
True.
A good couple of throws. Like, there was a couple of throws where like, damn, that's a good quarterback. That throw to
Cam Coleman is a demon.
Cam Coleman is wide receiver 1 in the SEC. Argue with the wall. I don't care. You can look at the stats. He doesn't have the best stats right now, but he carried. I don't want to say carried because that takes away from the rest of the team, but he did. He carried Auburn. I'm pretty sure. What did he have? He had to have at least 100
And
yards.
how many times did you just see him running free, have 3 yards on the defender, or
And
even
that-
the 50-50 ball, he's got 3 feet on him, jumping up and snagging it.
And the overthrow by Jackson Arnold in the third quarter. He's wide open. That one was rough. That was rough to watch. But in the end, the offensive line lost us the game.
Mm-hmm.
The refs did too.
I mean,
but
to watch, a lot of people are going to end up missing this because we didn't really come out with a lot of sacks, but our D-line,
they only
it.
ran for 24 yards or something.
And
so.
I mean, every single time, Mateer was getting pressured. He was getting pushed. Now, he got balls out really quick. He was able to get to the slant really quick, and we were playing a little bit soft coverage at times. But, I mean, we were back there, 2 guys every time. Keldrick Falk lit up that tackle.
We had, all right, so here's a funny stat. We had -2 rushing yards going into the 4th quarter. We outgained them by 40 yards in rushing.
That's crazy.
How does that make any sense? It's because our D-line played so good.
Yeah.
I think we ended up with 60 rushing yards. They ended up with 20. And by the way, all the hype around John Mateer, okay, he had a good game. Okay, he threw for a touchdown. He ran for a touchdown. Compare him and Jackson Arnold's numbers. I would say they had the same game. Okay, Mateer had a rushing touchdown. Mateer did have that last drive, which was good, and he made the Auburn defense not look as good as it had been the whole game. But Heisman front runner, I'm gonna back up on that stance right now. I was even saying before the game, I think he's the Heisman front runner before the game. Not anymore. I'm not trying to take away from Auburn's defense because I think we have good defense, but I didn't see a Heisman winner. I've seen a lot of people say he just has that it factor. I don't get it. I think you're just glazing. I think you have preconceived notions and you're just trying to run with that. Maybe I'm hating because I'm mad because someone asked him how he compares himself to Johnny Manziel, which I don't know why he was comparing himself to Johnny Manziel in the first place. You're not him, but
Yeah.
I don't know. He kind of rubs me the wrong way in that aspect. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong. If I could have him, I would, but.
And I will say there is a lot of room for him to make multiple steps. I mean,
Yeah.
Oklahoma's offense is very good, and he could be down the line, eventually have those numbers and have those performances. But if we're talking about a Heisman performance, I haven't seen it yet. And I have seen other quarterbacks put on better games. And he faces different competition, but the guys around him are also different too. That's one of the best rosters in the SEC right now.
Yeah, I think one guy that you should consider for Heisman, which no one's talking about, is Fernando Mendoza. He's been playing amazing. But Anything else to add? We got a big game next week. We're going to cover it in a minute. So
Yeah.
anything else? Okay, let's head to Clemson and Florida. Both fall to 1-3.
Florida had. I don't know if you ever went back and pulled up the drive stats.
I
but
know
it
DJ
is.
had like 60 yards.
Yeah, it's one of their worst performances since the 1970s or 80s. That's how bad it was.
And I kind of feel bad for their defense because their defense like kept it a close game till the third quarter. I would say it was probably what
Their defense is
20 to 7
is a
at one
lot
point?
better than they should be at this point because how is Billy walking around? You know, how is he not? He's got to be getting death threats every single second. And
he's probably going to get
I've defended him so far this season because I didn't want to be caught with a foot in my mouth like I did last year, where I sold on him early and he ended up coming out with a pretty good season. But I mean, there's not a pulse on that offense. It's just not there. And DJ's walking around with a boot. That boot might be fake at this point. He might be just trying to get out. Maybe it's real, whatever. But what do you do with that offense now?
Yeah, I've heard some rumors that he's going to enter the transfer portal midseason.
I mean, if Billy gets fired, he definitely will.
Yeah.
And at this point, I mean, we've already seen 3 coaches fired so far into the season, and it's not even week 5 yet. So there's no telling at this point. I would have told you that Mike Gundy wouldn't have been fired
Yeah, that was
mid-season.
insane.
And look at them now. And now that whole team is probably going to enter the portal.
So, yeah, Clemson just looks like they don't want it anymore. I didn't watch much of the game, but it's sad to see. Even as a guy that is not a big Clemson guy,
I mean,
it's sad to watch.
Syracuse was just the better team, and it sucks that Angeli went down because they could have put on a pretty good season. They faced FSU down the line, but I mean, Angeli was playing hats off. They just looked like they were the better team, and they wanted it more. And they're walking into your house. I mean, we saw the same thing last year against Louisville. You know, at this point, I haven't seen Clemson this bad. And I understand, I've been the one who loves Clemson. I've preached Dabo. I've said he's built that place brick by brick. He's put them where they are, and he deserves that job. And they're not going to fire him no matter what, okay? No matter what, they're not. But, I mean, Dabo's big thing was adapt, rewrite, survive, you know, and then that's what got him to the playoffs, and that's what got him natties. He wasn't afraid of change, and he was going to be on the leading edge of that change. But it just feels like they're just trying to keep that same method they had in 2018, and it's not working.
Yeah, it's not the new landscape. Texas Tech wins 34-10. Big win for them. They might be contenders in the Big 12. Not contenders. They could be the top Big 12 team right now. Indiana thrashed Illinois by 53 points.
And Illinois is still ranked.
Illinois ranked over us, finally.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Thanks, AP poll. You're the best.
We lost by 7 to the number 17. That's ridiculous. Arkansas falls to Memphis. I didn't see that coming, I can't lie. I thought maybe it would be a close game, but...
You got to feel for Talon, man. You got to feel for Talon. And, I mean, how many coaches will be fired this season? Who knows, you know?
How many coaches are going to get fired mid-season? Like, it might be a record.
It could be bad. It could be bad.
I don't know if they get rid of Sam Pittman mid-season, but I think there's definitely a shot. Nebraska loses a one-possession game again. I'm sorry, I'm not going to pick you until you start winning those games. I don't know why I did
their
that.
27th in a row?
Something like that.
Yeah, I picked them too.
They can't win one-possession games. They can't win games where the spread is below 5.
It really didn't even look like a one-possession game. It looked like they weren't as prepared as Michigan, and I watched Bryce Underwood magically once again find receivers that want to catch a ball. So I have a lot of faith in Matt Rule year 3, and Michigan is a tough team to play no matter what. So I'm not selling on them yet, but that was a heartbreaker for what I thought they could be this year.
All right, well, so in week 4, I had bad. I went 5-6. I got a rebound this week, and Jackson went 7-4, so he has a 4-game lead on me right now.
Big dubs.
We both had our locks, so I'm at 2-2. He's at 1.
It was about time. Yeah, I was 0-3 before that.
But let's go ahead and get into week 5. And let's start with our lock of the week. My lock of the week is going to be Vanderbilt minus 21.5 versus Utah State. Vanderbilt is a team that has been just blowing out folks. Last week they were favored by 28. They ended up winning by 55, I think. Something crazy like that.
Mm-hmm.
They have a great offense.
Yeah.
Especially when they're playing some no-name team.
I mean,
they can run it up.
If anything, it's just giving more air under Diego.
Yeah.
Pumping up those tires, and they are rolling,
Yeah.
which puts a lot of fear in my heart for whenever they come back, because I can't watch him do it again. I just can't.
I'll be at that game in Nashville too. So
Brutal. Yeah. My lock of the week is going to be Houston minus 13.5 against Oregon State. I think Houston's looked pretty sharp this year. They're rolling in at 3-0, playing fast and efficient on offense, and they've been avoiding a good amount. They've been avoiding turnovers in general. But Oregon State, on the other hand, is 0-4. Haven't found any answers on either side of the ball. They've just been blown up, and I blown out. And I haven't felt a pulse on this team yet. But I think the Cougars' ability to push tempo and punish mistakes that will be made will make this a tough matchup for the Beavers. I think Houston's just got the momentum and the power to cover that 13.5. So that's going to be my lock of the week, and hopefully I can get another win, start making that locks locks record look a little bit better.
All right, let's head to our first game of week 5. We have Florida State heading into Virginia. Florida State's only a 6.5 point favorite. Kind of surprising to me. We haven't talked about FSU a lot though since week 1 when they just outclassed Alabama on every facet of the game. They had a bye week and then they beat up Kent State, so they're 3-0 right now. And they played some other FCS school, but they've been able to spread the ball around a lot because their starters haven't played in the second half all season, except Alabama. But their starters haven't played in the second half of the last 2 games. They have 6 running backs, 13 carries. It's pretty crazy. Part of this is due to Gus Malzahn because I just think he has a great offensive system. He's probably one of the best offensive coordinators you can go and snag him. Virginia also has had an exhilarating offense this year. Chandler Morris is throwing around. I think he's already got 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. Virginia's only real test, though, has been against NC State where they lost 35-31.
Yeah.
But this is a game that could jump up on FSU if they are not ready, if they're sleepwalking, because Virginia's offense is more than capable.
Yeah.
But I trust enough in Malzahn's offense and Tony White's defense to pull away in the second half. Give me FSU winning and covering.
Yeah, I like it. As the number 8 team in the country, they are well deserving of the AP poll ranking, unlike a lot of other people who are ranked. But coming in 7.5 point favorite, I think the Seminoles have just been dominant on the ground. They've racked up nearly 500 rushing yards against Kent State. Tommy Castellanos has given them the dangerous dual threat quarterback or dual threat option that has always made Florida State a top contender in the ACC. But Virginia, though, is not a pushover at home. They're 3-1 coming off that solid win at Stanford. Their offense has been efficient with Chandler. And, not a lot of people have been talking about Jamari Taylor, but he is leading their run games, put a lot of yards down. I just think the question is whether their defense can slow down Florida State's physical rushing attack for 4 quarters. Florida State has looked like a team, especially in comparison of last year. They just look like a team who wants it more no matter who they're playing. And last year was the complete opposite. They didn't have a pulse. They didn't have a culture. It felt like they were struggling to even get their starters to want to play. But now it is completely flipped, which Norvell has been leading a clinic in showing the polarity of, the current modern day landscape of college football. So with the way that team is on right now and the way that they believe in themselves, I don't see anybody who could want it more right now. So I don't think Virginia's going to be able to surprise them just yet. So give me Florida State with the cover.
Crazy. Florida State's already got more wins.
Oh, I forgot. We're introducing a new segment. Papa Duck segment, surprise special guest picker. He's going to remain secret for now, but he's got FSU minus 7.5 along with me.
All right, let's head to our second game. Number 24 TCU heading into Arizona State. Arizona State is favored in this game by 2.5 points.
Yeah.
I think this is a pretty even matchup, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Both of these are high-powered offenses and defenses that could do better. They're Big 12 defenses. In my opinion, ASU has the slightly better defense, and TCU has the slightly better offense.
I can see that, yeah.
These Big 12 games are the hardest to predict for me. I can tell you right now, I did not write down a lot for this. But TCU has been more consistent, and that's going to be the difference in the game for me. So give me TCU with the win.
Yeah, I mean,
And
TCU is sitting at 3-0 with Josh Hoover's arm, and their potent passing attack has just looked electric. But I think they've been a little inconsistent in the red zone. Arizona State's coming off that last second win at Baylor. Took them down the line, but they're coming in with a balanced attack. Raleek Brown on the ground, and obviously Sam Levitt in the air has been able to feel like, a complete pull from last year's offense. They look like they've brought that same amount of experience and they're ready to play. But I think this is probably the best defense TCU's faced all year. But I think with Arizona State's defense and the crowd edge, I just think they're a little bit of a safer pick. But granted, if TCU can find the firepower in the offense, I'll give them that, and they can find an edge in this game. But I think I'm going to go with the team I can trust the most right now, and that's Arizona State to win and cover. Papa Duck's pick is also Arizona State minus 2.5.
Breaking news. Pete Thamel, John Mateer, has a broken hand
Oh,
that he suffered
no.
in the first quarter against Auburn. The estimated timeline after surgery is about a month.
That's brutal. Now, is he going to be back for Texas? No, he won't.
They play in
He won't, yeah.
2 weeks, I think, or 3 weeks. Wow.
The battle of bad quarterbacks, I guess. I mean,
Michael Hawkins, is he still there? I think he's still there.
he might be. I never heard anything about him transferring out, which if he's still there, I mean, he is a very competent quarterback and is skilled as a dual threat attack.
He said it happened in the first quarter too, so he still had a decent game the rest of the game. That's
I'm surprised that they're going surgery then. And it's got to be, unless it got worse over the past couple days.
Yeah.
But he still played competent. That's surprising.
That is surprising. That's the first time we've ever done breaking news on the podcast.
You're welcome. Sorry, Oklahoma fans.
It had just hit my phone.
We never wish for injuries.
Yeah, obviously.
But it could have happened last week.
So let's head to our third game. Those two games are on Friday, so now we got Saturday games. Number one, Ohio State is heading into Washington. Washington's favored by
Big game.
Washington's favored by 9.5 points. I think it's moved on to 8.5 actually, but around that line. Ohio State obviously looks like one of the best teams in the country, possibly the best. On both sides of the ball. And in my opinion, as the season progresses, their Texas win looks a little bit less and less as good, because I think at first I was saying it's probably the best win in the country right now. I get the best resume win. It's probably lost
big
a little
1
bit.
versus 2.
Yeah, it's probably lost a little bit of its luster with how Texas has been playing. Now, Arch Manning had a great game last week against Sam Houston, but he did bounce back last week.
Yeah, and he flexed on an insurance agent,
But I think this is Ohio State's. Obviously, this is their second test. I'm excited to see, because they haven't played anybody in 3 weeks, so it's going to be exciting. Washington, they've looked pretty good. They have the second scoring offense in the country. They're averaging 55.7 points per game.
Mm-hmm.
But the only real team they've played is Washington State. They blew them out. But I wouldn't even say Washington State's a real team. They're barely a Power 4 team. I mean, they're really not. But I still like to say they kind of are, because they got screwed over in that situation. But Damon Williams has been playing really great. Julian Saint's been playing good, obviously. I would say he's been playing great. Jonah Coleman, the running back for Washington, has the most touchdowns in the country right now. Most rushing touchdowns in the country right now. I didn't know that until I saw it. Even with all of that, I was still really behooved. I wrote down behooved, so I had to say it. I was still really behooved.
Bro, pull out the vocabulary words.
On why the spread was only 9.5. But then I did some research. Washington has won 21 games in a row at home, and this will be the first away game for Julian Saint. He has not left the horseshoe yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say it's going to be obviously his toughest test. I think there's a case this is Ohio State's defense toughest test, because Texas has not been playing very good against Group of 5 teams
Yeah.
offensively. If Washington can punch Julian Sayin in the mouth and that offense in the mouth early and maybe go up 7 or 10 to nothing, they have a very good shot at this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they do. So give me Washington to get 22 in a row at home.
Boom! Big call. I like it. That's a good call. Ohio State's entering with being ranked number 1, and they look like it. In a sea of questionable ranked teams, they are someone who has completely earned it. But I think their defense has just played lights out so far. They're barely averaging 5 points a game and not a single red zone score. But, I mean, this trip to Washington, I have to say, is their toughest test so far, I think. The Huskies have been putting up video game numbers so far. They're averaging 55 points a game with Desmond Williams, running back Jonah Coleman, like you said, and big play wide receiver Denzel Boston. He's someone who's been flying under the radar but has had some major catches, and he's been up there so far. But it's one of the best explosive and balanced offenses right now that the Buckeyes will or have faced so far, and I think it's not an at Ohio State, but it adds a lot of pressure to their pass rush and their secondary because they're going to figure out how to limit those chunk plays because they haven't really played someone who can put up chunk plays against them. The spread's Ohio State minus 9.5, and I think with the Buckeyes defense, it makes them the logical favorite here. Washington's ability to score in bunches at home can make it that dangerous spot, but right now, I've got to go with the best team in the country because they haven't given me a reason to doubt them so far. So give me OSU and give me them to cover. Big differ right there.
Yeah.
And then my dad, well, I guess we just released it. Papa Duck is now, he's got Washington plus 9.5. So he's with you right there.
All right.
Got me a little worried.
That would be my biggest call of ever since the podcast has started, if I get that right.
I would be
I have a feeling.
insanely impressed.
I just had a feeling. So, let's head to...
But I'll take an easy dub over you too.
Yeah, that is... I wanted you to pick Ohio State, but now I'm like, well, that's just going to be an L on my record. Anyways, all right, let's head to Kentucky at South Carolina. South Carolina's favored by
Big
6.5.
SEC matchup.
South Carolina's favored by 6.5 points. South Carolina not been able to run the ball at all this year.
No.
-9 rushing yards against Missouri. That moment of silence was for, I didn't have to explain it. Lenores did have a great game through the air, though. I think he threw for about 300 yards.
Yeah.
For Kentucky, we only have one data point with Cutter Boley, who now is their starter. They moved on from Zach Calzada. I don't know if he got banged
hurt.
up.
He got hurt.
He got banged. Okay, he got hurt. I don't know if he's out for the season, but I think what I heard is they're going to just roll with Cutter Boley now. And for what it's worth, he did have a pretty decent game against Eastern Michigan. But it's Eastern Michigan, so I'm not putting a lot of stock into that. The blueprint for Kentucky here is to dominate the time of possession, run the ball, and if they stop the run, which they should be able to because South Carolina can't run the ball.
And the good thing is there's lots of film for it
Yeah,
for them
exactly.
to watch.
So they can just pound the rock, make this a slow game where they win the time of possession battle by 15 minutes and just win like a 20-14 type of game.
Yeah.
And also forced turnovers because the main reason South Carolina lost to Vandy was because they turned the ball over 4 times. Last week they had a really close game with Missouri because they didn't throw the ball over once.
Mm-hmm.
If you force a turnover, which Kentucky has been in interceptions, they forced 5 interceptions in 3 games. Then I don't see a scenario where you don't win this game, and I think you do force turnovers. I think you make South Carolina one-dimensional. I don't think Kentucky's a very good team, but I think South Carolina might be your worst team this year. So give me Kentucky with a sloppy and gritty win.
I like it, and I could very much see it. Yeah, I mean, I think the big. I guess after Lenore's play last week, I feel a little bit better. I was wondering whether or not he might be still recovering a little bit from his concussion, but I think he's cleared from that. I just think Gamecocks have been struggling heavily offensively. They've only been averaging 22 points per game, and they've shown very little on the ground, like you said. But Seller's arm does give him a big edge in this game when he's completely healthy. And then Kentucky on the other side, like you said, turns to true freshman Cutter Boley. at quarterback after Calzada's injury. And I think consistency will still remain an issue, especially on the road. Night game atmosphere in Columbia should heavily favor the Gamecocks. They get rowdy, make that stadium rockin'. But after last week, I don't think Sellers is limited. But if he does end up getting limited, he's their only chance for offense. So that'll be Kentucky's chance to cover and get a chance with that defense in the game. But I think with Sellers coming off a whole lot better performance, I think there's a chance he can find his groove in this game, and they can start maybe turning the clock on the season and start finding a path to have an improving season. So give me South Carolina right here to cover that 6.5. Papa Duck pick is Kentucky plus 6.5, so he's right there with you.
Good pick. I would say this is almost a must-win game for Shane Beamer. I'm not saying he's going to get fired if he loses this game.
For this season, yes. For this season, it's
yes.
a must-win game.
To get it back on track.
It would take a lot for Shane to be fired, I think.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's head to 15, Tennessee, heading into Mississippi State. They're favored by 7.5 points. If this game was played 4 weeks ago, I think Tennessee would... Okay, I won't say that. Preseason, even though we didn't think Tennessee was going to be as good as they were, I think this spread would be a lot higher. But Mississippi State has just played pretty damn good for what we thought they were going to be. Obviously, beating ASU, that's starting to look like a decent win. I thought ASU was just going to be really bad this year. They go on the road and they beat Baylor. Well, I don't know if it was on the road, but they beat Baylor. So maybe Mississippi State's just a lot better than I thought. But to me, Tennessee really showed me that they're a playoff contender against UGA.
Yeah.
And I underestimated what Josh Hubel can do in a short amount of time to prepare Joey Aguilar. Like I said a couple weeks ago, I don't know what type of black magic he did, but it's perfect. Like he's got that system really well. He's a better quarterback than Nico Amaliava right now.
Definitely.
And that's not even a hot take.
Like you said, there is black magic on that. I don't know what Heupel does, but if you talk about quarterbacks after quarterback after quarterback after quarterback, it's insane.
Yeah. But I think like I said a minute ago, I think I have underestimated Mississippi State a little bit.
Yeah. I think everyone did. Who's calling that?
Yeah, but even after the first game, they beat Toledo by 8 points. Not a good game. But they've kind of turned it on a little bit. This is their first SEC game. If they can beat Tennessee,
oh my goodness.
I don't know what I'm going to think about the SEC anymore.
Tennessee will never hear the end of it.
But they're not going to beat Tennessee. I'm sorry. I don't think they're. I think Tennessee's just going to be too much for them. Their offense is too overpowering. I don't think Mississippi State just has. I don't think they have enough offensive power. Honestly, maybe their defense can hold off a little bit, but yeah, give me Tennessee to roll into Mississippi State and get a dub and cover.
Yeah, I mean they're coming off big win at UAB with more than 230 rush yards with a dominant first half. Vols are 3-1, and they've leaned heavily on not heavily, but they feel balanced. Surprisingly, with Joey Aguilar's success, they still feel balanced. While Mississippi State's coming in still 4-0 with Blake Shapen leading that productive passing attack. I think the Bulldogs' main weakness has been defending the run, which hurts them against Tennessee. They've given up well over 100 yards a game, and they've struggled when opponents start controlling the trenches. I feel like they haven't been able to catch a push yet. But, I mean, if Tennessee's able to establish the run early and avoid turnovers, they've built the cover in. It won't matter. But Mississippi State's passing game and home crowd with those bells rocking can have an effect. I'm not going to say it's not. I mean, this will be... This is... Was Georgia game at home? Or was it... No, it was at Tennessee.
It was at Tennessee.
Yeah, so this is Aguilar's main test right here against an SEC home fan base. And I don't know... I mean, ask anyone. It gets loud in Mississippi State. Ask Auburn. It gets loud. It'll just depend on whether or not they can have a hand in the tempo. If they can control some tempo, they've got a chance. But I think I think I've just got to go with the talent profile here. And once again, the team that I trust more, which is going to be Tennessee. I understand Mississippi State is on the upcoming, and maybe they've got future success ahead of them. But this isn't the year to start taking down ranked SEC opponents, I think. So give me Tennessee to cover this one. And then Papa Duck's pick is also Tennessee minus 7.5.
Good pick. I would also say I'm not backing up on the stance that Mississippi State is the worst team in the SEC. I still think they might be, but just
Arkansas's
say that.
fighting for it. I'll tell you that.
That's true. They play this year, I think. So that'll be a good game. Let's head to let's head to Notre Dame. Speaking of Arkansas, heading into Arkansas, Notre Dame's favored by 6.5 points. We talked about Arkansas at the top of the podcast a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Offense completely disappeared against Memphis in the second half. I think they were up 28-10 in the first half. They scored 3 points in the second half. Gave up 24, 23, something like that points. You're driving late and you fumble the ball. You just didn't deserve to win that game.
And then you couldn't get a stop.
Yeah,
you couldn't get a stop.
Yeah, you couldn't. They were. Remember
They
that last,
owned the last
Remember that last third down where the guy just drove 4 Arkansas defenders? How did you get bullied by Memphis?
Wanting it more.
Now, no shot to Memphis. That could be a playoff team.
Yeah.
But it's Memphis and you're Arkansas. It's a. I don't even know what their conference is on top of my head. Is it American? They're American and you're SEC. So that just shouldn't happen. Notre Dame offensively is great. Defensively, a lot. I want a lot more. They've given up 27 points the first game to Miami, 41 to A&M, 30 to Purdue. Those first two, maybe not as bad. 30 to Purdue though. That is shocking to me, especially when you look at the rest of Purdue's schedule.
Yeah.
Every other team they've played, they haven't. I mean, they really haven't got close except Group 5 team, I think. So that's not very good. Both of these teams are kind of similar, but the problem is Notre Dame's just a lot more talented.
Yeah.
And they have a lot better coach. And I don't see Sam Pittman really getting his guys ready for a win here. So
Especially after last week.
yeah, I trust Marcus Freeman more than Sam Pittman. So give me Notre Dame to come and cover.
Yeah, I mean, Arkansas coming in after that 2-2, I feel like they're reeling a little bit. But their offense, you got to feel for Taylor Green. I mean, he has had a season so far. Obviously, the lights got a little bit too bright last week. I don't know what happened in the second half. But, I mean, before that, he was rolling. I think he can light up a scoreboard, and especially against the Notre Dame defense that has been guilty of giving up every single big play that they can and then just leaking yards in the passing game. Notre Dame at 1-2, still trying to find their footing this season after some tough losses, but they've showed promise, especially against Purdue. They had very dominant rushing performance. They were able to grind a lot on the ground and have had a very effective offense. That hasn't been the problem. The Razorbacks at home have shown sparks. I think the plus 6.5 is tempting a little bit. If they can avoid the turnovers and exploit Notre Dame's defensive lapse, then they've got a solid chance in covering, I think. But still, I think Notre Dame has that pedigree, you know. They have the identity of we're going to push it down your throats, and whether you like it or not, at the end of the game, we're going to have more points than you. You know, they've got the Notre Dame identity, and if they can protect the ball and just control the tempo, they're capable of pulling this one out easy on the road. The secondary is the major concern that I think Talon could take advantage of, but I think I'm going to stick with the Fighting Irish, ironing out some defensive issues, and getting a win and cover. Because if I can trust Marcus Freeman with one thing, it's finding a defense.
Yeah, if they don't figure that out, they're not going to go 10-2 this year. They might not even go 9-3. But
and the Papa Duck pick is Notre Dame minus 6.5.
Good pick. All right, let's head to our first ranked matchup of the week. We have number 21 USC heading into number 23 Illinois. It shouldn't be a ranked matchup, but it is. 11 a.m. kickoff. Illinois.
And ours isn't.
Illinois. Last week. 63-10.
Yeah.
Not much I can say about that except
Happy I called it.
I'm not going to hate on Indiana, obviously, because Curt Cignetti, great coach. I think they have a great team again this year.
Yeah.
But you against any Power 4 team, you can't do that. I don't care if they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs. 63 points, you shouldn't be giving that up. And if we know anything about Lincoln Riley and USC, it's that they usually have an elite offense.
Yes.
And this year, it's no different. Jordan Mailata has been playing great. I've seen some people saying that he's a better fit than Caleb Williams. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but he has been playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
Not a better player, better fit, but he is slinging the ball, and that offense is multifaceted. I think
Yeah.
Illinois does have a bounce back defensively and offensively this week, because how could you not? And I trust Brett Bielema to get a good game plan ready. But I think USC is just too good. I've always liked Lincoln Riley. I know a lot of people don't like him. I like him as a coach. I think he's a great offensive mind. His defenses hasn't been the greatest, obviously, since he's been a coach, but I don't think it's as bad as it's been in the past couple of years.
Yeah,
I think
he's taken a step.
Yeah.
And if you can trust him with the offense, if he starts getting better at the at defense, especially with who he brought in last year,
They could contend. in the Big
exactly.
Ten.
Yeah.
So I think USC comes in here, gets a win, and finally kicks Illinois out of the AP poll. But who knows with these voters?
Yeah, I mean, they were like, look, that one win looks so good. Yeah, I mean, USC comes in undefeated, like you said, absolutely tearing up box scores, leading the nation in total offense, scoring over 50 points a game, big chunks through the air and on the ground, and they've had barely any turnovers. They've just looked very clean, very consistent. 21 could be too low for them right now, but Illinois has had the tougher road. They're really from that blowout loss from Indiana. Their defense is pretty banged up, especially in the secondary. But I will say Illinois does have a decent red zone offense, scoring on a major high percentage of their trips that they've made. But cutting through USC's elite red zone defense will be their biggest challenge, no matter what. We haven't seen this USC team really tested, but good teams do their thing no matter who they're playing. And I think Illinois has been pretty fraudulent so far. Give me USC with the cover. They haven't given me anything to doubt them so far. And the Papa Duck pick is also USC minus 6.5.
Dang, he knows ball.
He knows ball!
All right, let's head to LSU heading into Ole Miss. Ole Miss is actually favored in this game by 2.5 points. Kind of surprising, but I guess it's not that surprising.
Yeah.
This game's going to be awesome. This game has the potential to be the best game of the week. You have LSU, arguably the best defense in the country right now, letting up 9 points a game. I'll say best defense in the SEC because I'm not going to...
Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's 1A and 1B.
Yeah.
And you have Ole Miss, who has one of the best offenses in the country.
Mm-hmm.
This matchup is going to be amazing to see. And usually it's an offense that can break through. Usually an offense can break through after a while, especially if LSU's offense can't show any competency, which they will have to. But I think this is the game where they finally start to show it. They did score 56 points finally last week against some FCS team, so that it's not like that big. But they only scored 23 points against La Tech, so even against La Tech they were having struggles. So I think it was a good.
And there have been some things coming out about Nuss is battling arm injuries or chest injuries, whatever. So there could be reasoning behind it.
I think last week was a much needed game for them to get the offense short up. But let me be clear, I am very high on that defense. I going into the offseason, I was like, if they can have a top 30, even top 50 defense, I think this team could be amazing because I thought their offense was going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But they have a top 5 defense right now, top 10 at least. So I think I'm just really excited to see what happens here. It's crazy though with Ole Miss. Like I think Trinidad's their guy now.
I agree.
He amazing numbers. Now it was against Tulane and it was against Arkansas, who Arkansas does not have a good defense as we've seen. Tulane is a Group 5 team, but still amazing number. He's already putting up better numbers than Austin Simmons was. And if you look at the passing yards, he's only like 100 yards less than Garrett Nussmeier, who has played 2 more games.
Yeah.
So I didn't write down who I thought was going to win this game, but I'm going to roll with LSU. I think defense wins championships. I did write it down. I didn't even notice. LSU wins a close one where they score 24 points. I think they can win like a 24-21 type.
So you're calling the upset.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I like it.
That's an upset.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, LSU, Ole Miss, meet in Oxford. I think it's going to be one of the biggest SEC showdowns of the season. We'll be talking about this game for a little bit. Both teams coming in undefeated. Ole Miss has looked, like you said, very sharp, knocking off Kentucky, knocking off Arkansas, and then rolling past Tulane with their backup, who has looked amazing. I don't know what magic that Josh Heupel gave Lane Kiffin, but it's still there. It's got to be all these teams. But I'm a little worried about this game. I think LSU coming off that dominant win with Garrett trying to finally finding a pulse, and they looked very explosive. Again, Southeast Louisiana, I think that's who they played. The key battle will be LSU's defensive front against Ole Miss's balanced attack. But this is a different Ole Miss offense than we've seen last year, than we've seen the year before. They're not pop, explosive play after explosive play. They can grind out a drive if they need to. They can pull clock if they need to. They can find it in the run game. They're very balanced so far, and they've been efficient both running and passing. I think with the crowd behind them, Ole Miss has this edge at home. But LSU's talent and depth give them a chance in every game. If they can swing momentum and control the line of scrimmage and limit some mistakes, they've got a major chance in this game. I mean, this is a top team in the country. There's no doubt about that. So how much can we trust this LSU's offense when the big lights come on? That's the question I'm asking. Ole Miss's defense lacks the stopping power, which should allow for Nuss to make some plays. And I think when it gets to big games like this, where talent profiles sort of match and you've got both teams who are rolling off of big wins, I sort of go to the home team. Now, it's Oxford, so it's not a massive presence, but it has been on the up-and-coming past couple of years. I'm going to go with Ole Miss with the cover, and then Papa Duck's pick is also Ole Miss -2.5.
Wow. I didn't think I was going to be the only one there.
I like it.
It's crazy how number 4 team is not but it makes sense, I guess.
8 people.
Yeah. Let's head to Alabama at Georgia. This is not game of the week. Don't freak out, Alabama fans.
Stop crying already.
Have you seen them all complaining about not getting game day?
Yes.
Well, you want to know why? Because it was a top 6 matchup this week. But anyways, I digress. Alabama at Georgia, number 17 at number 5. If you disguised these two teams' resumes and these two teams, just how they play.
Yes, this is a microphone. Sorry, keep going.
if you disguise just how these two teams played, I would pick Georgia 99% of the time. I would look at that team that just went into Knoxville and dropped 44. A team that is off a bye week and has the best coach in the country right now. A team that is facing a team who lost by double digits in Tallahassee to, I think, Florida State, they're a better team than we thought, but still, getting dominated at the line. So, if they're masked, if you mask their resumes and you just look at these two teams and you can see the coaches too, I'm taking the one at home 1,000% of the time. But you unmask them and all that confidence goes away from me because Alabama owns Georgia. And I hate to let that factor into my pick, but it does. It just does. You can't not let it factor in that. There's something in Georgia's mind where they can't beat Alabama. They've done it once. They did it in the national championship 3 years ago. Is that the last time they've done it? I think it does. And they've played 3 or 4 times since. Last year, they should have won. They go down 28-0 in the first half. And they're granted,
claw their way back.
They came back. They did come back, and they still ended up losing.
And they proceeded to give Ryan the best play he's ever done, making both your defenders look like they're middle school boys out there.
And last season proved that Georgia was a way better team than Alabama. Alabama, wildly inconsistent. Georgia, a semifinal team. Is it the same case this year? It's in Athens. Does that make a difference? It hasn't before.
Yeah.
But there's a reason they're favored. Let's go back to the Alabama and Florida State game. Again, they got bullied. They got dominated in the trenches. If you get dominated in the trenches, you can't win football games. And they did bounce back, win 73-0 ULM. Okay. Yeah. They killed Wisconsin. Okay. Wisconsin got beat pretty bad by Maryland last week. I think they played Maryland. So this game right here, especially for Alabama fans, this is it. I think a lot of Alabama fans, if they lose this game, they're going to go ape shit again. But I'm trying to figure out if if I want to pick against them because how could you after seeing the history? I haven't wrote down anything yet. If this game turns into a shootout, Georgia will not win. Georgia will not beat Alabama in a shootout. I don't think. I don't think it's just. I think it's just because of the history. It has nothing to do with the talent on the team or the two offenses. If this is a shootout, Georgia will lose. So you have to make it a more defensive game. And I will take Georgia. It's really hard. It's really hard for me to do it. But I think they finally get over that Alabama curse. So give me Georgia.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, the good thing for Alabama is they're coming in here with some reinforcements. They've got Jam Miller back after his collarbone injury, and then Tim Keenan. He's also returning their D tackle from an ankle surgery. Both will be big boosts for the Tide. Georgia bounced back from a close win at Tennessee, and they looked extremely sharp on offense, showing that they can actually score in buckets, which who knew with Gunner. I think if Alabama can lean on Miller and eat up yards on the ground and finally find, a run offense when the lights are bright, it could mean the game. If you can force Georgia to beat you through the air, it's not their weakness, but it adds a lot of pressure on Georgia's team because historically they haven't necessarily been able to do that through the air. But Georgia's defense is completely solid, especially with the home crowd support at Sanford Stadium. But turnovers and Alabama's pass rush could definitely swing this momentum. I expect a tight, physical SEC slugfest like usual. Georgia might have the edge at home, but Alabama definitely, like you said, they've got enough firepower to keep it close. I think watching Kirby use magic dust to turn his offense, led by Gunner Stockton, into a high-scoring, fast, explosive unit has been etched into my brain at this point. Because I did not think that was possible. I watched him take the team they had last year and win the SEC championship with it. I haven't loved Bama's defense, but I also know that this game is a 1,000% complete one-off.
It's their Super Bowl.
We saw what happened after Bama pulled out all the stops and beat Georgia just to go on and fall apart down the line. So, this game is a season of its own. It doesn't matter. Take all what's happened before this season, take all the games that's going to happen ahead of this season. This is its own game. They've been prepping for this all off season. So I think when you've got two talent profiles like this and two head coaches like this, obviously Kalen's not on the same level as Kirby, but Kalen's a great coach. And he's been to the Natty. So when you have these teams, like I said, I tend to lean with the home team. So give me UGA covering that 2.5 points with a big win in that stadium. And then Pop Duck's pick is also UGA minus 2.5.
Sweep, that's not good.
It's not good. Why are we sweeping?
In case y'all didn't know, we're rooting for Georgia. That's why I was not very confident on that pick, but I hope it happens. Obviously hate both those teams, but
and I don't need Kirby to be pushed up against a fence when he plays us. Okay, I don't need him to really need that win. Okay, because it just sucks the air out of the room for us.
Yeah. All right, let's head to let's head to the game of the week.
Game of the week.
Number 6 Oregon heading into number 3 Penn State. Penn State's hurt by 3.5 points. It is the whiteout.
Yeah.
I could just say my briefs right there. It's the whiteout. I'll admit, I haven't watched a lot of Penn State football this year though.
There's not really a point.
They haven't really played anybody.
Yeah.
They've just handled business. They played really good. Villanova.
Same thing with Oregon.
Recently they've played. Oregon, yeah, I haven't watched much of them either. At least they've been playing a little bit more. Oklahoma State is obviously terrible, but that's a Power 4 opponent. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think Penn State has played a Power 4 team yet. Oregon's played 2 bad Power 4 teams. So
very bad ones.
Both of these teams are in the same exact spot. Mm-hmm. Super high expectations this year. High scoring offenses, elite defenses. I would say Penn State's even is better than Oregon, and also 2 great coaches. And we're trying to figure out which one of these is going to. We're trying to figure out who's going to be really at the top of college football, honestly.
Mhm.
And he hates this. I usually tend away from Penn State in big games like this.
I mean, history agrees with you.
Because
Live will end.
you have to do the puzzle piece.
Well, I got to do a puzzle piece. All right, we good. We good. I did the puzzle piece, guys. All right.
I tend to lean to, and it's usually them playing Ohio State. I think that's very normal. It's Ohio State. This is
Yeah.
Oregon, though.
I mean, if you're losing all your games against top 10 opponents,
But I'm really.
it's fine. You're not a top 10 team. You weren't. They've also not been losing the games they've been favored against. All right, keep going.
So, this game is really, really fun for me because as much as we think we know about these teams, let's be real, we don't know a lot about these teams. We thought Clemson was going to be a playoff lock this year.
Yeah.
And then they played some real teams and they lost. Now, I'm not comparing these two teams to Clemson, but what I'm saying is we don't know much about these two teams, and we're about to find out, and that is just so exciting to me.
Mhm.
Two top 10 teams, two top 3 Big Ten teams. So you can even say top 2. So I'm very excited. But you can probably tell who I'm going to pick from what I said at the beginning. It's the wideout. Give me Penn State because
I like
It's a
it.
lot.
I'm happy you're picking. I don't know if you've picked Penn State in a big matchup. I like it. Yeah, Oregon's coming in undefeated with an absolute murder squad of an offense right now. Once again, averaging over 50 points per game, averaging more than 520 yards per game. Okay, with a strong balance between run and pass. Offenses like that are from distance look unstoppable. Now, who they played, it doesn't matter. Good teams do what good teams do. Their
Okay,
QB
cool.
Dante Moore has looked extremely sharp, making big plays and protecting the ball. He's been very safe with it. Penn State, on the other hand, has looked like one of the country's best defenses so far, barely giving up more than 5 points per game and forcing crazy turnovers. I think their offense is pretty solid. It's just not as explosive as Oregon's right now. But they've got running backs. Katron Allen, obviously, and Nicholas Singleton have given them a very good, steady attack and will probably be leaned on heavily in this matchup. I think it'll depend on whether Penn State's defense can disrupt Oregon's rhythm. They haven't played anybody yet, but they've put on a major effort. So it's going to be difficult no matter what. Even, if you look back in history, this game it matches up cleanly. But Oregon just hasn't faced a defense as strong and as disciplined at this. I think, like you said, it being at home with the whiteout environment, the edge is going to lean towards Penn State. And if they can keep everything under control and just keep the game clean overall, they can take it. So give me Penn State right here. History tells me Penn State will lose this one, but what do you always say about a dam? It's going to break. So give me Penn State with the cover. Papa Duck's pick is also Penn State with the cover.
And also, you got to think, Dante Moore going in, he has a year of good, obviously he's been playing good this year, but Penn State just has the way more experienced quarterback, and I think that's going to be a big difference in this game, too. I forgot to highlight that.
Yeah.
Can't think of
Someone who's been in games like that, Drew, and Drew's also been put up as a high NFL draft pick for the past 3 years. People have been claiming that for a while, and he's obviously not hit a stretch or maybe his potential yet. But if he's just an overall good quarterback with that good of a defense behind him, give me Penn State.
Yeah, and I'm really confident that Penn State's going to win this game. I don't know why.
I'm after being cut twice last year by Penn State. It wouldn't surprise me.
Hey, if it happens again, I'm never picking them ever.
Yeah,
Because I never picked them before, but I'm finally picking you.
It scars you.
I'm picking you now.
It scars you. I promise.
All right, let's head to the Auburn game. Big matchup, big bounce back game. Going into College Station to face the number 9 Texas A&M Aggies. A&M's favored by 6.5, same spread as last week. Oklahoma was. This is a 2:30 kickoff. Super important game. I can't stress it enough how important this game is for Auburn, for their season, for the momentum, for Jackson Arnold, for the offense, for the defense, for Cam Coleman. We need Cam Coleman to get a win. I don't think he's going to leave. I don't want him to start thinking.
I want him to drop 150 yards.
And I want him to get a win,
Yeah.
too. Because what if he drops another 150 and, well, we lost? And what is he going to start thinking? Oh, maybe I can go be great at Ohio State.
Please don't think that. Please don't
That's
think
what.
that.
So that's what I'm saying. Big win. But obviously, this team is no slouch. This is a top 10 team. Now, do they deserve top 10? You're splitting hairs if you don't think they are. They're still a really good team. Defense is questionable.
Yeah.
Offense is elite
Yeah.
at this point. Now, maybe we'll see down the line their offense is not as good as we thought, and maybe their defense is good. It usually levels out a little bit more. But right now, their offense is just, I'll tell you, it's a lot better than Oklahoma. Or at least they're going to play a lot better than Oklahoma did last week, at least, offensively, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we lose this game, it could be really bad for Auburn. I think we're one of those teams that, and I know we're 3-2 heading into a bye week if we lose this game. So it's like, what are you talking about? It's 3-2, but I've seen a team like this before just crumble after a couple tough losses, which I can totally understand. Those are gut-wrenching losses. Last week was gut-wrenching. If we lose another gut-wrenching loss, I could see the season crumbling, and I could still see, and we haven't talked about it ever since Baylor, but I could still see Hugh Freeze gone by the end of the season. So I think this game is huge for Hugh Freeze, and it's huge for my mental health. The main thing that we have to do is try to maintain Marcel Reed as much as we can, but offensive line, please. We have to score more than 17 points this game if we want to have a chance. I think I'm guessing that our defense can hold them to 30, maybe 24 again if we're lucky, like Oklahoma. I don't know. At A&M, it's really tough. Before, a couple years ago, the trend used to be we would always win in College Station. They would always win in Auburn. But now it's flipped. So, and they're off revenge, by the way. They were mad about last year.
Yes.
They have this game circled.
I mean, we kind of embarrassed them a little bit.
Yeah, and they're off a bye week. They've had a week to prepare for this after Notre Dame. It's hard for me to pick Auburn in this. And I still haven't decided yet. But I also just I can't give up on my team, man. I've as much as we played bad in the Oklahoma game, we also played, I would say we had a good game, I think. Overall, it was a good game where we went into a top 5 team right now, maybe top 10 team
And
in the country.
top environment, too.
And lost by 7 in a game that we shouldn't have, I would say, we shouldn't have lost. We lost by 7 in a game where there was a 14-point swing to a top 5 team and a top 15 environment.
With a quarterback who was previously playing for said team and was coming up with so much trash in his mind, And just think of the effect that had on him.
And we got sacked 10 times. Should have been a blowout, but no. Our defense is strong enough to keep us in games like that. Our offense had moments. Now, we want those moments to be a little bit more linear this game. Can we make that happen?
Yeah.
Can Hugh Freeze get the team locked back in? I hope he is just telling them how important this game. I hope he knows how important this game is. Because I'm telling you, if we lose this game, we're going to lose a lot of momentum. We're not beating Georgia. That's going to be 3 in a row.
It will hurt.
So, I think, I would even say last week, Hugh Freeze had his guys ready. It just, the ball did not roll our way.
Mm-hmm.
How much, is that going to happen 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks in a row? Is the ball not going to roll our way again? I don't think so. Give me Auburn to go into College Station, get a top 10 win, and shoot us back up to the top 15, and change the season outlook drastically. Because right now, it's pretty sad in Auburn with Bruce Pearl retiring and the Oklahoma game.
Yeah.
So give me Auburn with a big win and a big season changer.
I like it. Yeah, I think one of the biggest scare factors of this game is Texas A&M coming off a rested bye week and sitting at 3-0. They've been prepping for the past 2 weeks for us, and like you said, it's a get-back game, or it's a revenge game for them. They've had our number since last year, since we stormed the field on them. And I think with Marcel Reed leading a balanced offense and a defense that has played solid, not as tough as Oklahoma's front Auburn just faced, which is good, but the Aggies have shown a lot of explosiveness, and they got the boost of Kyle Field that at home, the 12th man. That'll be a major factor against us. But I think Auburn has a real chance to respond after that setback in Norman. And if the Tigers can establish their run game and can somehow protect Jackson Arnold, or just tell him, hey, if the one read is not there, just run. Pull another Baylor, all right? That was fine. Then we can take advantage of A&M's less disruptive defense, and we can definitely flip the script. And I know that they've got the rest in the ranking, or the rest and the top ranking, but think about teams against the run against us so far. No one's been able to do it. No one. And Marcel he's got an arm, but that's not what he's known for. He's known for being able to be free with his legs, and his freedom with his legs opens up the deep ball for him. If he can't get free with his legs, which I don't think he'll be able to, because our D-line has played their butts off, and we've been able to contain extremely easily. No one's been able to find lanes against us really well. Then we can shut down that offense. And then all of a sudden, we're playing a less-than defense than we played last year. You're telling me Cam's not going to find 3 other, slants where he gets 5 yards in the receiver? You're telling me Jackson can't bring that ball down a couple of yards and he catches those? I didn't pick Auburn last week, and I felt that every day after the podcast. Every day I thought about it, and I regretted it, but I was like, you know what? I didn't want to be biased, and I wasn't biased, and that was my pick. This week, I'm not biased. I'm picking Auburn to go in there, go in that trap, and take over that trap, and cut or get that 6.5. Give me Auburn with the upset.
Let's go. It'd be a huge one. That you're
He also picked Auburn plus 6.5. Now, he only picked spreads, but still, I think he knew what he wanted.
Yeah. We'll be back next week, and you'll be able to tell from the first note of if we're somber or if we're hyped, because I'm telling you right now, this is a very polarizing result.
And we've just started, I will say, we've just started videoing a podcast. Going to be coming out on YouTube. Obviously, it's out on TikTok right now.
So, we'll see y'all next week. War Eagle.
War Eagle, baby.